Greetings and Assalamualaikum to my respectful supervisor, Dr. IHWAN GHAZALI and panel of examiners, PS ZOLKARNAIN bin MARJOM and Sir Muhammad QADAFIE bin IBRAHIM. I am Liyana Syahirah binti Cik Razak and I'll be presenting my thesis regarding the investigation of environmental sustainability and Industry 4.0 readiness through Malaysia cultural preference. The outline of my presentation consists of the following, which is I'll discuss in more detail about the background, problem statement, objective, concepts, method, preliminary findings, and lastly feature the entire progress flow of my research. The environmental sustainability in the Fourth Industrial Revolution 4.0 is an important consideration that has received a lot of attention. There is no clear consensus on whether Industry 4.0 will have a long-term influence on environmental sustainability. As a result, this thesis will examine research that focuses on traits that are especially related to environmental sustainability. The idea of Industry 4.0 evolved in the German industry, and its core is the use of technology for efficient production. The emergence of Industry 4.0 for manufacturing and its associated technologies such as the Internet of Things, IoT, and cyber-physical systems, among others, has a critical impact on environmental sustainability in today's business due to pollution, waste disposal, and intensive use of raw materials, knowledge, and energy. The slide presented shows a short list of thesis definitions. This problem statement is derived from the knowledge that is known that many attempts have been made in recent years to promote Industry 4.0 in Malaysia. The Smart Industry System concept, Internet of Things (IoT) and Integrated Cyber-Physical Systems (CPS) of Industry 4.0 may contribute to the improvement of industrial performances such as lead of time production, increase of product quality, effectiveness of quality management system, higher efficiency, and so on. However, the implementation of the Industry 4.0 idea is not primarily concerned with the benefits to the industry. Manufacturers must also consider the long-term impact of Industry 4.0, particularly on the environment. The problem statement of this study will highlight two major issues, which are, first of all, in terms of the environment, Industry 4.0 is still fairly new in developing countries, and the effects on the environment are not well understood, especially in Malaysia. While the second problem statement, discussed in terms of cultural value considerations. Distinct nations may have different cultural viewpoints when it comes to Industry 4.0 in Malaysia. No research has been conducted to evaluate the effects of cultural value on environmental sustainability impact on Industry 4.0. The main aim of this research is to investigate the environmental sustainability on Industry 4.0 readiness through Malaysia cultural preference. Specifically, the objectives are as follows: to identify a conceptual framework of cultural value effects on environmental sustainability in preparedness for Industry 4.0, to develop a guideline strategy for assessing environmental sustainability Industry 4.0 preparedness based on Malaysia cultural values. Lastly, to identify the influence of cultural values on environmental sustainability in Malaysian Industry 4.0 preparedness. It has been discovered in the literature that the evaluation of environmental sustainability in Industry 4.0 preparedness is still ambiguous. This is due to the fact that worry over Industry 4.0 may be regarded differently in each region. Many elements can impact it, including the availability of resources, the quality of human potential, technological capabilities, and the natural context of cultural value. Currently, no study has been conducted to investigate the cultural value impacts on environmental sustainability toward Industry 4.0 readiness, particularly in Malaysia. As a result, The scope of this research aims to look at the effects of cultural value on environmental sustainability and Industry 4.0 preparedness in Malaysia. This research will investigate the sectors that are suitable as samples. The data will be gathered in a questionnaire created and distributed by using Google Form. Furthermore, the partial least squares structural equation modeling technique will be used to analyze the data obtained from the questionnaire. This can be done with the help of Smart PLS. The following slide shown here is a list of research questions I have shortlisted that I found to be relatively useful for this study. This part of the research discusses about the main aspects of environmental sustainability on Industry 4.0 readiness through Malaysia cultural preference. The conceptual model research framework shown describes how each aspects from cultural values to environmental sustainability concerns and Industry 4.0 readiness correlates with each other to go in depth of the understanding of this investigation. This portion of the presentation provides information of the fundamental components on Industry 4.0. Central features of the concept Industrial 4.0 shouldn't be viewed as a closed system, but rather as one important component of a larger picture. The transition results in the development of smart grids and smart buildings for energy supply, mobility and logistics solutions, smart health, and so on. This is a society based on the Internet of Things and service. The interfaces between Industry 4.0 and environmental sustainability are supported by relevant literature as shown. This next part offers an introduction to environmental sustainability on Industrial 4.0 readiness, as well as case studies and information on the fundamental components of the project. The factors affecting the main aspect of my study are categorized into environmental factors, technological factors, and organizational factors. Consequently, the research considered market pressure and the external of assistance. Customers' expectations are driving businesses to incorporate new forms of information technology. The more competitive pressure a firm is under, the more likely it is to adopt industrially competitive technology. Other than that, the research takes into account the accessibility of information technology resources and resources efficiency. Small and medium-sized businesses who wish to embrace Industry 4.0 need sufficient information technology resources. Manufacturing companies have a specific responsibility in terms of energy efficiency. Any waste in production, whether it be due to overproduction or quality issues, results in expenses for both the economy and society as a whole. Moreover, the research recognized leadership, management, and cooperation. Cooperation will be very effective way to help firms and individuals learn new technical skills. Adoption of new technological is necessary for digitalization, which demands good management leadership. Industry 4.0 requires management that is flexible, cross-hierarchical, group-focused, and collaborative. These are the 5 cultural values that have been ranked and will be used to produce hypotheses related to our main aspects. Individualism is defined as being self-sufficient and having no care for not belonging to a group, while collectivism is the degrees to which persons in a society are incorporated into organizations as a social rather than an individual attribute. The term power distance refers to the extent to which less powerful members of an organization or institution are willing to tolerate and even anticipate an uneven allocation of power. Uncertainty avoidance is a personality trait of someone who cope with uncertain, unexpected, and unstructured situations. Masculinity is viewed as social character level that is more oriented towards the values of achievement, ferocity, and asset acquisition. Femininity, again as a social, not an individual attribute, relates to the distribution of values between the genders, which is another basic issue for any society to which a variety of solutions may be found. Long-term over short-term orientation. The long-term pole correlates to Bond's coefficient work dynamism. Perseverance, thrift, organizing relationships by rank, and a sense of shame were values discovered at this pole. Values found at other short-term pole were repaying social duties, respect for tradition, guarding one's faith, and personal steadiness and stability. As can be seen in the figure, features a bar chart data, the social structure of Malaysia may be characterized as collectivistic. In Malaysia, power distance is very large. No classification can be declared for this dimension since masculinity and femininity have the same index value. A comparable low grade may be given to Malaysia for its ability to avoid ambiguity. Last but not least, a low degree of long-term orientation is seen as being characteristic of Malaysia. After reviewing these descriptions of cultural dimensions, it should be quite obvious that each dimension has its own unique characteristic. There is a possibility that the culture of one geographical region may be distinguished from that of another. The theories will be examined in 5 different ways. The construct of Industry 4.0 readiness will be used to assess the environmental sustainability concern construct. These 5 cultural elements will act as a mediator between environmental sustainability and Industry 4.0 readiness. A product of the hypothesis testing, 5 hypotheses are obtained from each cultural values. There are still insufficient studies to support the investigation of effects of cultural influences on environmental sustainability to Industry 4.0 readiness, particularly in Malaysia. There are 2 categorization of method which are qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is described as a way of researcher looks for broad patterns, generalizations of theories from themes or categories. Use non-structured observation, interview and documentation, while quantitative describes the way researcher tests the theory and hypothesis, build fact, predict behavior and explain an event statistically. Data can be collected by using questionnaire, structure observation and interview. For this thesis study, I have implemented quantitative method to generate results. The following shows the proposed flow of my research design. To perform the study for this project, a questionnaire is implemented using Google Form. The questionnaire is a research tool that consists of a collection of questions or other forms of prompts aimed at gathering data from a responder. A series of questions was designed to get each individual's feedback and identify other requirements and desires regarding the topic proposed. Using Google Forms, a review form for evaluating the environmental sustainability on Industry 4.0 readiness while incorporating cultural preferences was created. Respondents are rated on how important this evolution towards society and industry on the hypothesis questions by each responder. Each attribute was graded on a scale of agree or disagree. Respondents were asked a series of questions ranging from 1, strongly disagree, to 7, strongly agree. About 10 to 30 respondents are required to answer the questionnaire. The data produced from the questionnaire is in the form of Excel data. The Excel data is then interpreted into Smart PLS, the partial least square structural equation modeling technique is then used to analyze the questionnaire, thus producing a measurement model from the data analysis. The preliminary findings and results of this whole research develop a measurement model that have been ranked with main aspects according to its respective cultural values. These findings is useful for future reference. The measurement model shown is just an example of what will be generated from the Smart PLS. This is due to initial data that I have derived is not adequate enough to get the complete result and will proceed in more detail in my next research. A flowchart illustrating how the several research activities for my thesis were compiled are featured. This summarizes my presentation related to the study of environmental sustainability towards Industry 4.0 readiness in Malaysia based on cultural preferences. That is all from me. Thank you for your time and consideration.